All right, let's talk about Charles Dickens's masterpiece, A Tale of Two Cities. This is a story that's absolutely epic. It's about love, it's about sacrifice, and it's all set against the chaos of one of the most famous revolutions in history. You've definitely heard this line before, right? It's one of the most iconic openings in all of literature, and for a really good reason. It perfectly sets the stage for a story that is all about contrasts, all about duality. We're talking two cities, two men who are practically twins, and an era filled with both incredible hope and just absolute terror. So let's set the scene. We're in the late 18th century. On one side of the channel, you've got London. It's pretty stable, at least on the surface. But then you look over at Paris, and the air is just electric with tension. Years and years of poverty and injustice have pushed people to the absolute edge. A storm is brewing, and it's called the French Revolution. The whole thing kicks off with this incredibly mysterious message, recalled to life. What does that even mean? Well, it refers to Dr. Manette. He was a brilliant doctor who was secretly thrown into the infamous Bastille prison and just left there for 18 years. He's basically a shell of a man, coming back from a living death. And this is our very first taste of the novel's powerful theme of resurrection. But for all the huge historical drama, this is really a deeply personal story. At the center of it all is Dr. Manette's daughter, Lucy. She's kind and loving, and she finds herself caught between two very, very different men who both fall completely in love with her. This is where the real heart of the story lies. So let's meet the two men in question. First, there's Charles Darnay. He's a French aristocrat, but he's a good guy who's totally ashamed of his family's cruel history. Then you have Sidney Carton. He's a brilliant, sarcastic, and deeply cynical lawyer. And here's the kicker. They look almost identical. They're doppelgangers. Carton looks at Darnay and sees the man he could have been. And believe me, that uncanny resemblance is going to change everything. For a little while, it seems like things might just work out. Lucy and Darnay get married, they start a family, and they build a quiet life in London where it's safe. But here's the thing about history. It has a way of catching up with you. That storm that was brewing in France, it finally breaks. The revolution begins, and its shadow is about to fall right across their happy home. You can really see how fast things spiral out of control here. Tensions that had been simmering for years just explode with the storming of the Bastille. And that's the point of no return. The revolution gets more and more violent, and right at that moment, driven by a sense of honor, Darnay makes a really bad decision. He decides to go back to Paris, walking straight into the lion's den. And, well, it goes about as well as you'd expect. The second he gets there, he's arrested. It doesn't matter that he gave up his title, it doesn't matter that he hates what his family did. In the eyes of the revolutionaries, he's an aristocrat. His name alone is a crime, and that's a death sentence. He's condemned to the guillotine. So what do? I mean, really, how do you possibly save someone when it's not about what they've done, but who they were born as? It seems absolutely hopeless, right? There's no legal argument, no plea that can work. But there's one person who has a plan. A wild, desperate plan, born out of a love he never thought he could express. And this right here, this is the emotional core of the entire book. It all comes down to Sidney Carton. The man who drank too much, who wasted his talents, who thought his life was meaningless, he finally sees a chance to do one thing, one single heroic thing, to give his life purpose. And he's going to do it for Lucy. Okay, so check out this plan. It is audacious, and it is brilliant. Carton manages to get into Darnay's prison cell. He uses their identical looks to his advantage, drugs Darnay, and they swap clothes. Darnay, unconscious, is carried out to safety and reunited with his family, while Carton stays behind, calm and ready to take his place at the guillotine. He gives his life so that the woman he loves can be happy. And that brings us back to that powerful idea, resurrection. Remember, recalled to life? For Dr. Manette, it was literal. He was physically brought back from the living tomb of the Bastille. But for Sidney Carton, it's something much deeper. It's a spiritual resurrection. In the moment he sacrifices his life, he finally redeems it, finding a purpose he never had while he was living. So why do we still talk about this book? I mean, it's been over 160 years. The reason it endures, the reason it's so powerful, is because this incredible plot is really a vehicle for exploring some of the biggest, most timeless ideas about what it means to be human. These are the big ideas holding the whole story up. You have the incredible power of sacrifice, which we see in Sidney Carton. You see the poison of revenge perfectly captured by the terrifying Madame Defarge, who literally knits a kill list. You get that ray of hope and resurrection. And through it all, Dickens is showing us a hard truth, that terrible social injustice will, sooner or later, lead to terrible violence. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Dickens can be a lot. His books are often huge and sprawling, but this one, it's different. A Tale of Two Cities is tight, it's fast-paced, it's a genuine page-turner. The plot is so focused and gripping, it makes it one of his most popular and, honestly, most exciting novels. In the end, this is the question the novel leaves us with. Think about Sidney Carton, a man who, by all accounts, threw his life away. He was cynical, he was aimless. And yet, that one final act was so full of courage and love. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can one perfect moment of sacrifice truly redeem an entire life that was imperfectly lived?